on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. Days gone by. It's the bigger love of the family.
Welcome back to a very special Trick or Truth edition of the Hot Mic Podcast. This is a lot of fun. I really appreciate everybody, playing along with this. And we are inviting you to engage with us as normal, as usual, but also tell us who has the best costume. And then we're going to do a little poll, and we might be doing something new in future podcasts. But let me introduce everybody. We got the Praying Mantis, a.k.a. Kevin Aldridge. How you doing, sir?
Hey, happy Halloween, everybody.
Michelle Dunn. How you doing, Michelle?
Hey, everybody.
Good to see you. Raven Mundy, a.k.a. the Pirate. How are you?
I'm good.
And Tarris Horton today. Telbert, is it Wienermeyer?
Thelbert Wienermeyer. And Thelbert Wienermeyer is actually Jessica White's son, and Thelbert Wienermeyer is actually MC Hairlips dating Thelbert Wienermeyer's sister. So it's a whole story about it.
Okay, and I want to hear the whole story. I want to hear all of it. And happy Halloween, everybody. We're having some fun with it. I mean, the life is just so heavy, and we got some very scary topics to talk about today. But we just want to engage with you in a different way and have fun. And I am what am I? I am a dangerously educated individual. I am a black doctor, a.k.a. DEI in red states.
Oh man, that's a good one.
Amen. That's good. I didn't earn these. I was given these just because I'm black. So there it is. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun. Lots of stuff to talk about, and I just want to recognize all the people who are with us. Jerome writes, "Hello, 513." Hey, Jerome, good to see you. Hey, what's up, Doc? Good to see you, man. Afternoon, everybody. He writes, Scott's having some fun with it. We having some fun. You can't laugh at yourself, then life is just getting too heavy, which it is actually. Mm-hmm. Pamela writes, the waves, huh? The waves, okay. Staban, hey, good to see you, Staban. And Nat is here. Hey, Pat, always good to see Pat. Pamela writes, good afternoon, Nathan and guest panelists. Ron's having some fun with us. Just got a laugh emoji. I can't share it for some reason. Scott writes, off top, the new maps suck. We'll talk about that. Cam is here. Good to see you, Cam. Dina's here. Good afternoon. Fame Rothstein is here. How you doing, Fame? Hey, guys, I just found out Cash Patel is 45 and dates a 26-year-old. I have questions. Okay. Marquetta is here. Always good to see you. Absolutely. Wait. She writes out, hey, good people. That's the missus right there. Treat her with respect. Regina writes, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see everybody. He writes, my name is Ed, so I'm representing Beavis. Okay. All right. Dr. DEI. There it is, Dr. DEI. Thank you, Ron. There it is. Terry writes, good afternoon. let's just jump straight into the scariest topics that everyone's been talking about so lately, and that is the fact that, and this really wasn't on the topic, but I want to talk about these SNAP benefits. I mean, tomorrow SNAP benefits are scheduled to not be dispersed to millions of Americans. And I have a question for you. Let me bring my notes up. A very scary question. Give me 1 second here. My question is, some say SNAP abuse is the problem. Others say underfunding is. Who's telling the truth, and who's using the hungry as a punching bag for their politics? That is my question.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely need out there, right? I think those who are against, any kind of government assistance will always try to use the cases of folks who are juicing the system. And look, let's just be clear. There are always bad actors in every system, right? There are people who are always going to take advantage of the system and try to get over or whatever. But the vast majority of people who rely on these SNAP benefits, many of them are working class people who need that extra support to make ends meet because their jobs don't pay them enough. And so I think, too often you try to paint the whole by a very small percentage of people who might be abusing the system or taking advantage of it. And I just think that's a narrative that that people want to use to try to get rid of some of these government assistance programs when the real issue is pay people livable wages so they don't have to need government assistance. That's the biggest thing. I mean, most people who get this, they're prideful people. They want to work. They want to have their own thing. They just can't, their jobs and the situations they're in just don't pay enough. And so I'm not buying into this whole there are more people out there abusing the system than people who actually need it. I think that's just I think that's just something that people say who are kind of hearted and cold-blooded toward people who are living below the at or below the poverty line sometimes. So I'm on the side of people who benefits.
My question is, how do you have some of these corporations where the CEOs and founders are making hundreds of millions of dollars, if not billionaires, and yet they've got workers who are on SNAP benefits? Like, what does this say about our system, and what do we stand for? What do we actually stand for?
Yeah, I like to talk about corporate welfare a lot, because we subsidize all kinds of things in this country, but yet we villainize and shame the people who are getting food assistance. While there's lots of examples of, subsidies, government, public dollars that go to help prop up all kinds of things, not just food, but let's talk about homeowners. I mean, you get a mortgage, credit on your taxes. So home ownership is subsidized. Our food production system in this country is subsidized. Employers and businesses, corporate tax breaks. If you compare the welfare that we give the top wealthiest folks, they don't even pay taxes in most cases. They don't even pay their fair share in taxes. But yet you want to talk about the woman who's got 2 jobs and 3 kids and is making minimum wage, and talk about how she doesn't deserve to have a handout. I mean, it's really disgusting.
Is my mic still crackling, Nathan?
So far, so good.
Cool. SNAP benefits. I believe that this is a litmus test for what is to come, and this is just testing it right here. They're going to come through and save the day. I already hear rumblings of JD Vance and people trying to say, hey, let's come to work together. Let's sit at the table. But for right now, they're just saying exactly what they can get away with, in my opinion, so they can restructure the SNAP benefit programs, which I don't see anything wrong with it. Let's find out who's abusing it. Let's find out who's wasting it again. If it has to be, or they shut it down, redistribute it out to have everybody reapply. If you're really in need, you're going to reapply and make the reapplication system completely fluid as it could be with modern day technology and AI. And then when people are reapplying, we can get rid of all the people who are using it or abusing it or shouldn't be on it, or we can start revetting people who are able-bodied Americans who should be working, who are abusing the system. We can properly vet them. So, I mean, I'm all for SNAP benefits. I think that it's a great catapult. So,
can I ask a question? I hear this conservative rhetoric about people, like there's such an emphasis on people who abuse the system. Can you explain to me?
Thank you.
What is abusing the system? Like, what, in your words, Tarris, what does that look like? What does that mean? Because I want to get an understanding of what you're saying before I give you a rebuttal. Because I don't agree with anything you're saying right now, but I want to understand what your definition of abuse is.
On my block where I live, there are 11 people living in a 1-bedroom house. None of them are working. Six of them go to the school. So I'm like, okay, cool, 6. Then they got a mom that moved in so they can get, they're doing what they got to do to get by. But you got 4 adult men who are in that house who are not working, receiving Social Security and SNAP benefits. Who I could see if they were just on it for a little bit, but this has been going on for over 2 years. So you asked me a direct question. Who am I talking about? Who these type of people who are abusing the system?
Wait, do you know these people?
Yeah, I know them. I live in my block. They live on my block.
So how do you know all of their financial information and all of their disability information? How do you know if these people don't have disabilities?
Because I can see them.
And that's the problem. That's a very ableist mindset. First of all, that's a very ableist mindset. Because little do you know, there are disabilities that exist that you cannot see, Tarris. Let's start there. Let's start there. But I just want to clear up. There are disabilities that exist that make it difficult for people to work that you cannot see just looking at somebody.
I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I'm saying you asked me a question. You asked me a question. Who? You asked me a question. Who? Do you think having sleep apnea is a reason to not have to be able to go to work?
You can't get disability for sleep apnea.
What are you talking about?
Not real. That's not real.
Okay, you asked me a question. I gave you an answer. Who is receiving SNAP benefits that are abusing the system? People who are not working, who are able-bodied men. People who you think
are able-bodied. Okay.
Able-bodied men. If you can get up and you can go gamble and you can sports bet on an application, you can bet and use your money to do that. You are able-bodied and can go do a job. It can
again. Who is this person that you are 100% sure is able-bodied, is not disabled either physically or mentally, who has the qualifications to get a job in this economy? And like what are we talking about? Like, I'm gonna try not to get.
Hey, Raven, let me say that.
Because what you're saying, Tarris, is a bunch of assumptions. You're not saying anything factual. You're making assumptions based off of what you can see, and the things that we're talking about when it comes to disabilities are not things you can see.
You said, who do you see? Who are these people you're talking about? Is what you asked me, and I gave you my answer anecdotally of what I see and the people who I see, and then you're saying,
hey, Raven, let me say this. Let me say this, Raven. What Tarris is doing is exactly what I was saying in my comments. Is everybody knows or thinks they know somebody, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, who get some type of government assistance, and you kind of know what their story is. That, to Tarris's point, they kind of don't want to work. They kind of don't want to go out and do the right thing. And I think what happens is everybody knows maybe like 1 or 2 people who actually fall into that category. And what they do is they expand that exponentially. I'll say it. I got a couple people in my family who abuse the system, right? Who relatives that I know that are able-bodied people that need to carry their butt to work could do it, but they don't because they're riding on the system. Okay, that's why I said we can't act like there aren't people out there who aren't abusing the system.
This only get 150. How much? Look, a monthly. You know how much you get food stamps as a single.
I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, Michelle, but it still gives those. It still gives those people who want to tear down. I'm not saying I agree with anything Tarris say. I'm saying this is how people who attack the system get there, because they take maybe the handful of instances that they know and they expand that exponentially to say,
Right.
hey, this thing is rife with this kind of abuse.
Okay, look,
I don't think
a bag
that's
of
true.
Halloween candy
The people I'm talking
in
about are white people, by the way.
2019
The
it's
people I'm
gone up
talking about are white, by the way.
32%, right? 32%. When you bought a bag of Halloween candy in 2019, it was one price. That price today has gone up 32%. We all know that during COVID, these corporations totally took advantage. They jacked up grocery prices. They've never gone down since COVID. So who are the real villains here? You're going to villainize people just trying to put food on their table. In this system that we live in, when you have every metric that you can think of has gone up except wages, right? And then you're not going to. So where's this righteous indignation against people like the Walton family, who, like Nathan said, are billionaires while their employees can't even earn? They qualify for Medicaid. They don't even have a qualification for employer insurance. That's how low they pay these people. So I'm just, I'm not buying it. The anger and the frustration. I am not someone who's going to shame my neighbor over the real people who should be ashamed in this country, which are politicians and the special interests and the pharmaceutical companies and the corporations that have jacked up all our daily living prices. So $150 a month in SNAP benefits for some dude who looks like maybe he could get a job. You know what, sir? Have it. Have you some food? I mean, come on. What have we become in this country?
And can I just interject real fast? Can I interject this real fast? Just say this real quick. You know why I don't care? Because I don't personally know anybody who I believe is abusing SNAP benefits, but let's go with Kevin's theory. Let's say each and every one of us had know 2 or 3 people who are quote unquote abusing SNAP benefits. You know why I don't care about them 2 or 3 people? Because there are thousands, maybe even millions of people who don't technically qualify for SNAP benefits, but are struggling to make ends meet right now. And they don't qualify because they make too much money. They make $1 or $2 more than what the qualifications are, but they are struggling to put food on the table for their family. Those people are not getting those benefits, and that's why I don't give a damn if the 1 or 2 people we know who are abusing them are getting those benefits, because it's not that those people who are technically not qualified but need it, it's not because there's not enough room for them. It's because our system is set up for the wealthy. It's set up for people to abuse other people, not to abuse these benefits, but to abuse other people. That's why I don't give a damn. If I'm just being real.
Can I finish my statement before I got cut off? Because I was going somewhere with it when I was talking about what I was talking about. The Democratic Party, especially during the election, had an opportunity to look at something dead on, but you decided to turn your blind eye to something, which you're doing again in this SNAP benefit situation. The SNAP benefit situation with the immigrant situation, when the immigrants were getting the SNAP benefits when they did not qualify for them. There was immigrants and that were going and getting on food stamps and they were getting these SNAP benefits. So that action is a reaction. So now they have opportunity to do a litmus test to see exactly what they need to do in restructuring the SNAP benefits to make sure, because those were talking points that the Democrats failed to realize and to look at when we were saying Chicago is an immigration problem. Kamala is going to have a hard time winning immigration. Immigration ain't nothing. Immigration ain't nothing. Immigration ain't nothing. Then you got beat on immigration. And now I'm saying the same thing about with this SNAP benefit thing. I agree with what all you say, because it doesn't matter to me, because I believe the SNAP benefits affects white people more than it does black people. It only affects 25% of black people. So I'm not over here trying to disparage anybody else. When out of 100%, only 25% of black people are on SNAP benefits, I think that's really good.
That's significant. That's significant.
When the white population is up there way above us from the studies that I have seen. I'm glad that we're not abusing and we're not a part of that scrutiny that is about to come down. This isn't a black problem. SNAP benefits isn't a black problem. So I'm tired of people making SNAP benefits a black problem. This is not a black problem.
Yeah, it's a poor and working class problem, and that cuts across all racial lines. I think everybody's making great points, and I love what sorceress Michelle said. She said that's not real, right? This whole thing about illegal immigrants, which Kamala Harris would be president.
Did
I finish, Telbert? This whole thing about illegal immigrants. You cannot be illegal in a stolen land, and it's just the wrong language. It's propaganda to even use that. But undocumented folks don't qualify for those benefits, and if they do, so be it. They pay taxes when they work.
They don't even get Social Security.
They don't even get Social Security. So, Telbert, I don't know how you know all these people's business. I'm too busy. And focused on my family. I care about what's happening down the block in a positive way, but I'm not looking over people's shoulders trying to figure out how they spending money. And I'm too busy trying to make money myself to worry about if somebody else is making money.
That's so unfair to be.
I just don't know how you have the time. I just don't know how you have the time to. It's like you're a Karen. Yeah, I don't know. That's like Karen.
I am. I'm a get off my lawn type of dude. You ask me a question,
but they're not on your lawn. They're down the street at their house, minding their own business, doing their own thing.
And you watching their pockets.
I'm too busy trying to build and take care of my own family. Unless I'm going to be helping somebody, I'm too busy to be worried about what the person down the street is doing. Unless I see some kids that need some help or a family and I'm going to help you out, I'm not here to criticize you. I grew up on SNAP benefits. Grew up on it. I grew up on SNAP benefits, welfare. My mother hated it. She worked. She was on and off. She had children. She was a single mother. And I can tell you, there's a lot of people on those benefits that don't want to be in those benefits. They want to work. But we live in a society where, because of the politics, I'm going to land real quick. We live in a society where, because of the politics, the benefits don't really help you up. They just help you get by month to month. And that's a real problem.
That's right.
On this panel, I'm just going to ask a question. You guys ask me a question. I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
On this panel, out of all five of us, who is the person who has received or has been on SNAP benefits themselves, and how recently was it?
I told you I grew up on SNAP benefits.
I'm talking about as an adult.
My son gets them right now. I have a SNAP benefit card in my wallet. Because my son is 29. He's in a wheelchair. He doesn't earn an income. He's fully disabled. And because of that, he qualifies for Medicaid for the disabled through the state of Ohio, and he gets a SNAP benefit. It's only like $150 a month for a full grown man. You know, that's supposed to feed him $150. And it does not stretch the whole month. And so, yes, I'm a recipient of SNAP in my household.
Because what they don't understand is that the S part of SNAP is supplemental. It does not cover all expenses. It is a supplement to what you already make as a SNAP benefit, as a benefit receiver. It's supplemental. And I only had it for maybe a year when I was fresh out of high school because, believe it or not, Tarris, I have a disability. And so at that point in my life, I was not able to get the kind of employment that would allow me to, I'm still a benefit receiver because I don't do anybody. I don't like when people sign up for Medicaid or health insurance through their job. I don't do that because I have a disability. I get mine through JFS. I get my health insurance through JFS because I qualify. I don't consider myself to abuse it. I only use my health insurance maybe a few times a year, and I've needed it for this last 2-3 years. Maybe I have had major surgeries paid for by Medicaid because I needed it to, because I can't afford it with the money I was making at my last job and at this current job that I'm working right now. I could not afford it because I did not. I don't make enough money to afford health care. So when you say things like, well, I can just see that this person, you know, is able-bodied, you cannot see things like that. And you cannot look at somebody and understand what their funds look like either. You have no idea what kind of, you know, passive income this person might be making doing other things that you don't see them get up and go to work and do every day. So for you to assume that these people don't even have any kind of income outside of getting benefits is crazy even in. Like, you're making a lot of assumptions, and that's the whole entire conversation around SNAP benefits and what's happening right now. There are a lot of assumptions being taken as fact because you feel personally attacked. And the reason why you feel personally attacked is because billionaires told you to feel personally attacked.
Yeah, that's right. It's a scapegoat.
That's unfair. That is so unfair because you're personalizing to me, and I have been on SNAP benefits recently. You know, in the less than 5 years ago, I had to get on SNAP during COVID. You know what I'm saying? So I was saying I can personalize and I understand exactly. So that's why I understand. And you asked me a question, and I'm going to defend myself until we get off the spot. You asked me a question. You said, Tarris, I want to understand who are these people you're talking about who are abusing the system? And I said,
and I pointed out,
I see them right over here doing exactly what I
pointed out that you're making an assumption. That's all I did. You did answer my question, but I'm also allowed to tell you that your answer was an assumption.
My answer was an assumption, but I can't help it. I can't help it when I see it, and I see more people coming in. Hold on, Raven. Let me land this plane right here. I can't help it whenever I see, and these are black people I'm talking about. I see white people doing this. These are white people I've seen do it. And then what set me off one day is I'm coming home from work, and this black dude that is migrated over from Cincinnati over here is sitting on the porch and assuming the situation, smoking a Black and Mild. I said, no, you ain't coming over here doing this. You need to be working. I don't want that on my block.
Smoking the Black and Mild?
Oh, Lord.
Or sitting? He shouldn't be allowed to sit. He should be out. He should be in the field.
No, he should be at somebody's factory. He should be somebody's factory. He's like 19, 20
so
years old.
So you saw this black man one time in your neighborhood smoking a Black and Mild, and you made the assumption that he didn't have no job, that he didn't have no life.
I've seen him every day for about 3 months. I've seen him every day for about 3 months. You know what I say?
Hey, look,
you might have talked with him about work.
I'm like, what you doing? What you doing? I'm like, what are you doing? What are
if
you
you're
doing?
not gonna help him, leave that man alone and mind your own.
You just be harassing people in your neighborhood.
Leave that man alone.
I would hate to live. I would hate to live in a community with an HOA with you, Tarris, because I know you would be president of the HOA, terrorizing everybody. I would hate to live there.
Telbert would be the worst.
Oh my gosh.
One thing that Tarris did say, though, is true. And he said this is a test, right? And that is true. This is an opportunity. This is what people like Russ Vogt in the government, they love shutdowns and they love emergencies like this because this is where they can push the envelope. And the real target is Social Security and Medicare. That's the real target here. But they're going to start with Medicaid and SNAP, and they're going to get us all riled up and get everyday Americans like Tarris looking at their neighbors saying, ooh, you shouldn't get it because I'm not getting it. And why are you getting it? And it keeps us divided, and it keeps us down here fighting over the crumbs while we're ignoring the real problem at the top. Right. And so this is intentional and this is a test. And they love the shutdown. They love the fact that we're in crisis. And they love a hungry, angry, paranoid citizenry. That is the playbook of fascism. They want us hungry, they want us angry, and they want us fighting each other in the streets so that they can push the Insurrection Act and militarize our cities. And this is not paranoia. This is literally what our president, the president, not my president, just said publicly. He said, I can do whatever I want with the Insurrection Act. I can mobilize the military. I can send in the Marines. I can do whatever I want. And to mobilize the Insurrection Act, you have to show that there is rebellion in the streets. And that's why they're doctoring these videos that probably Tarris watches, right, of street fights and skirmishes between ICE agents and brown people who are here illegally, so they can create a situation to militarize our cities. And that is the long plan. And it is in action right now. And it's not a secret because they wrote about it and they talk about it publicly. So this is the solution, right? Instead of figuring out who deserves it or doesn't, we need to move into community care and solidarity and helping each other through this attack on taxpayers and our people of this country. How dare they deny us food assistance with a rigged economy? I mean, it's criminal. So I suggest that we're all responsible. Say, I'm a food stamp recipient, or my mother's a food stamp recipient, or whatever. Share your personal testimony. Talk about how it made sense for your family and has helped you through. And then in turn say, I'm going to make a commitment to not shame my neighbor for being on that benefit because I understand why they're on it. And while maybe I might think they don't deserve it or not, that's not the point, right? Everybody in this country, we have enough wealth in this country that no child should be hungry in this country. So why are we having hungry children in this country? It's not because of the SNAP program. That's not why.
Great superlative flows, as I would call it. I'm looking for any opportunity to put Kevin on the screen because I love his costume, aka Praying Mantis.
He's been real
Kevin,
quiet.
Can you reiterate?
Real quiet.
Can you reiterate this? I've heard you say this many times before about those that have and convince those that don't. Can you finish it? You know what I'm talking about, bro?
Kind of vaguely. I mean, I think, I mean, Michelle kind of said it, you know, it benefits those who are at the top to keep, you know, those who are in the middle and those who are at the bottom where they're at. And I think those who are kind of in the middle somewhat tend to be the gatekeepers that keep those at the lower rungs sort of at bay, because they do have a tendency to kind of join in with those who are in the upper levels. And that's who the upper levels appeal to, are people like, you know, most of us who are on this podcast, or maybe even some of the people who are listening, who are gainfully employed, who do have jobs, who have kind of made it, and who aren't struggling, and they play into that. You got yours, they're not getting theirs, and it sort of pits you against. People in the middle start looking down on people who are in the lower rungs, and they look up to the people who are on the upper rungs because that's who they aspire to be. But the reality is that we're all fighting for the crumbs, right? You and I are lucky today because we have jobs, but we know how corporate America is. Tomorrow you could be out of work. You know, you up today and then you could be getting SNAP benefits tomorrow. So I think people who are in the middle can't get caught up in this, oh, I made it, and people who are at the bottom rung, you don't deserve this, or you could make, because we're all a paycheck or two away from being in a really bad position. We're all away from a health crisis, from being in a bad position. And so I think as long as those who are in that top 1% can keep each of us at each other's necks and throats, they got us right where they want us. And that was the danger of what MLK was doing at the end of his life and at the end of his movement, when he was trying to do the poor people's campaign, when he was trying to get poor people of all stripes to recognize, look, you know, here's who the real enemy is. Here's who the real villain is. And we need to unite around this and recognize that if we all want to come up, this is where it is. And I think we don't say anything about, again, Michelle said it, we don't say anything about the millions of dollars of corporate welfare that are handed out ad nauseum, that our cities give out, that our states give out, that the federal government gives out. We don't say anything to the fact, I think it's the height of hypocrisy for people who don't pay taxes to complain about how taxes are being spent. You ain't got no skin in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you complaining about? You're not even paying taxes. So yeah, man, it's a dubious game that we can't fall for. And like I said in my initial comments, we're not having when we get caught up in this abuse of the system, it distracts us from having the real conversation that we need to have in the beginning, is that why do so many people in this country need it to begin with? Because we don't have enough opportunity. We aren't providing enough jobs where people can live a livable wage. Do that first, and then we can complain about the people who are not going out and taking those jobs, right? Like, let's try that. Let's go out and create jobs that pay a livable wage. And then when people refuse to take those jobs, right, and are still trying to live off the government then we got grounds for conversation. But as long as we can't employ people gainfully with livable wages, where they ain't got to go out and work, 2 or 3 jobs to take care of themselves, I think we're having the wrong conversation.
So we got $40 billion for, is it Argentina, but no money for SNAP. So I found a meme. Here's what I was talking about. Look at this right here. This is what's been happening, and people, unfortunately, like Telbert, are falling for. You got this super wealthy dude talking to the working class guy, telling him that immigrants are your real problem. No, buddy, that's not your problem. So if the question is trick or truth, this is a straight up trick. SNAP recipients are not the problem. Immigrants are not the problem. It's income inequality and the concentration of wealth. That's the real problem. But somebody brought up brawl, and the brawl was brought up last couple of days. A never before seen video was shared by the folks over at Signal 99 Facebook page. And purportedly, I haven't watched the video, so I'm kind of going off just the headlines here. Just for the sake of conversation, I'll put that out there. But purportedly, the video shows the beginnings of the so-called brawl. And it shows that the Russian, I know Tarris or Telbert had a real problem with the Russian, that apparently he was the victim. And I don't know. It feels like maybe this is some kind of local October surprise, right before the polls open or, right before election day next week. And I don't know. Honestly, I'm a little over it. I'm not sure what more there is to see. At this point, it's like been there, done that. But what do you think? I mean, will this sway the election? Last second, never before seen video. Do you care? Does this matter anymore?
I don't think it matters at all. I mean, I think people have already made up their mind how they feel about the brawl one way or the other. And what I saw from that video footage, I don't think is going to much change people's opinions.
What did you see, Kevin? Because I didn't get a chance to watch it. What did you see?
Basically what it had it had some of the moments that were leading up to it where it showed kind of like the initial punch, if you will, where it looked like everybody was just kind of chilling out on the street corner. Looks like the Alex Travinsky guy was exchanging some words with a brother who was next to this white Jeep on the street. And who knows what he said or what went down. But apparently the brother on the street was agitated enough to where he just hit him with a two-piece right quick. So you can't hear any audio in the video, so you don't know what was said. But what you did see was Alex Travinsky took two blows first from this brother who was who was standing on the street. So in essence, what the video was trying to get at was that this brother who hit him twice was basically what precipitated everything that led after that. And so Travinsky and this guy kind of spilled out into the street. They were kind of squaring up against each other. Some people broke it up. Travinsky was going back to the street corner he came off of, and on his way, like he kicked like the bumper of that white Jeep a couple of times. And then I guess the dude who owned the white Jeep came up and was telling him like, "Hey man, that's my car, blah, blah, blah." And he was the guy who got slapped. That was where the slap came in. And then kind of, the rest of kind of what took place from there. So it was actually probably clearer video than we've seen, more up close video than we've seen. I mean, it's probably the best quality video of the brawl that we've seen up to this point. But it still leaves a lot of questions out there, right? Because you don't know what Travinsky said that made it. Not saying that, whatever he said justified the brother hitting him with a two-piece. But there's still things that led up to that moment that you don't know what was said or things of that nature that made the guy, haul off and hit him a couple of times.
Question.
But I kind of feel
the guy who hit him.
We lost your video,
time,
Raven.
Is that the same guy who got smacked?
We lost your video, Raven.
Different guy. Yeah. The guy who got smacked is different than the guy who hit Travinsky the first couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just me, or can we see Raven's video?
Yeah, we can't see.
Yeah, I can't see Raven's video. It's dark.
Do you want to go, Michelle, or you want me to go?
Go ahead.
Okay. I've seen what Kevin's seen on the video, but I want everybody to. I mean, I know I talk a lot of trash a lot of times, but people are tagging me in this Signal 99 video whatever they released. They're like, we want to know what you were so vocal about this. Now this new video evidence comes out. Now what you got to say? So I'll be real clear right here on this programming. Let's go all the way back to Birth of a Nation. The silent film, the first film was released to put the propaganda out there in the United States of America. It was a silent film that drove a narrative. So everybody gets to see that silent film and make up whatever story they want to make up in their head. So I can see something a certain way, you can see something a certain way, and without the audio, like Kevin said, to know what happened prior to what started the brawl was the smack. The smack started the brawl because cooler heads kept prevailing. When I saw that silent video, I saw a bunch of stand-up black men and women standing in between outnumbered immigrant Russian. Whatever happens, I don't care. Whatever dude, Alec, whatever his name is, I saw somebody outnumbered, still after pursuing. When you're outnumbered, and you see a lot of good black people standing in the gap saying, no, We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. This is not for, we are not here for this. And we see persistence. Like what they say, he wanted that. He wanted the smack to me from what, until we hear audio, and like it was a fake October surprise, because all the white people who I'm seeing that are watching this video, it just invokes that upsetness all over again when they're seeing, because they're showing certain clips of this video. They're showing Holly get knocked out. They're showing the white dude getting drug out in the street. They're showing the stomp on the head. They're showing all these things to, just like they did to us whenever we had to see George Floyd get his face kneeled on for all those minutes. They're doing the exact same thing. They're using the same tactics on a different side. Swing and a miss. This election is over. If you guys are trying to go into something else and trying to go after Aftab as he gets elected and to move forward, because I'm curious to see what their next play is going to be, because this is their October surprise, and they'll get a push out of this because they're going to piss off a lot of people. They're going to get people to the polls, but it's too little, too late. It's too little, too late. Okay, hold on. I'll say this and I'll land. They're going to get some people to go to the polls, but it's not enough people to negate the amount of people that has already pre-voted and voted early for AFTAB. They won't get enough people to come to the polls and vote as many people has already voted for AFTAB.
Tarris, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I don't see this as an October surprise. I don't see this having any bearing on the election whatsoever. So what? People who were already mad about the brawl saw that, now they got extra juice to go out and vote. I don't think that video changed anybody's mind. I think that's what I'm saying. I think people long ago decided where they came down on the brawl. And if that video, if it did anything, I think it only added some more things and more questions that didn't make anything any more clear. Because now I'm wondering, after I look at that video and I see Alex Stravinsky go back and basically kick dude, stomp dude's bumper twice, I'm thinking, like, why wasn't he charged with some kind of criminal damaging on that guy's car? And I don't know how much damage was done, but he gave that 2 pretty good kicks on the bumper. Like, that right there is video evidence of you damaging somebody's vehicle. That could be charges on Alex Stravinsky. So I guess my whole point is, I don't think this moves the needle one way or another with people who have already staked out their positions on what they think about the brawl. I think if anything, it just adds more questions. I don't think it's going to have nary impact on council or the mayor's race. People have already made up their mind.
The media, just going back to a prior conversation, Kevin, I mean, certainly Trisha Mackey, is it, using a Signal 99 clip from a Facebook page. That's sort of an anonymous group. I mean, people, I guess, know who they are, but they're not like necessarily clear to everyday people who these people are. I mean, again, it's like top line news click. I mean, it's clickbait. It's, clickbait. And again, it's like, what's the responsibility of the media? Why are they taking the bait, and bring this? I don't know. I watched it and I was like, this isn't that much more information than we already knew. I mean, it's just a bunch of drunk, messy stuff, people in the street, But back to, my point, which is the federal government is now funding and staffing a, quote, domestic civil disturbance quick response force. This is a real thing. In all 50 states, they want to bring in ICE officers, federal agents, to create these domestic civil disturbance quick reaction forces to quell community violence. And so because of the backdrop of what we're seeing from Washington, this is just not just some everyday, just one more brawl video. I really feel it's part of an agenda and a strategy of the far right and conservatives to continue to seed fear in our cities and to make a case for the Insurrection Act. And we all, as regular people, have to reject this and say, okay, so you got another angle of the footage of something that probably happens pretty regularly. And it doesn't just happen in cities. It happens in rural places and suburban places too, right? Where people get drunk and they do stupid stuff and they get in street fights. So let's not blow this up into some big issue to then just feed into this whole plan to make the case that we have dangerous, out of control cities. So it's just irresponsible, I think, of this local media to elevate it to that point.
Yeah, the one thing I would disagree with you there on that, Michelle, is this is already a big deal. I mean, I get where people feel like you feel how you feel about the brawl and what it should have been and whether it should have grown to a certain level. But at a certain point, it is what it is. I mean, it became a national story, largely because of how it was shared through social media. And I think, you know, as someone who works in a media organization, you update and you report on situations as new information becomes available. I do have to say that never before seen footage, like the only reason this is an issue now is because the city wouldn't release this footage sooner. Like this is footage that should have been out when all of the other videos came out. If you remember, I said on this podcast numerous times that the city should have released the fullness of the video from the beginning to the end so that people could see it at the time. Instead, we were getting all of these piecemeal sections of the video, and you were having a hard time trying to put together what happened, when, and where, and it was difficult to get a timeline of what happened. This should have been released months ago. I mean, and again, they said they didn't want to release it because, you know, hey, it might interfere with the investigation. One of the questions that I do have, which I think is a good journalistic question, is how did Signal 99 get all of this video footage? Where did they get it from? And who released it to them? I think that's also a part of the story because it may get to, Michelle, your larger point about an agenda. And I'm not saying that what you're saying is not accurate. I do think that there's a larger agenda that is behind this that's political in nature. But I think that, you know, from a news agency, it's hard to say, hey, we've got a piece of this story that people haven't ever seen before, and we're not going to report on it or publish it because we don't want to blow it out of proportion. I just think, you know, that's not anything that we can control. That horse has long been out of the barn about, you know, this being a bigger deal than maybe it should have been.
Well, I understand where both you guys are coming from, 100%. Yeah. I understand Michelle's argument. I understand Praying Mantis's argument for sure. What I would say is the next step should be exactly what you said, Praying Mantis. How did Signal 99 get this video? I said the same thing. We were talking about this video from the body cam footage with Iris Rowley. How did they get it? Where's the I team or investigation into how that video got to the public so quickly? And I think if we start doing those kind of investigations here locally, we might be uncovering some very uncomfortable and perhaps scary truths.
Can I ask?
And that's important. That's important to know. Let me say this real quick, Tarris, and then I'll let you go. And that's important information to know because, you know, for Michelle, who brought in the journalistic responsibility thing, it is as a news organization, it is responsible for you to know before you put something on air where it came from, what the source or the origin of that is, especially in these days of AI where videos can be doctored and that sort of thing. And so for an anonymous site like Signal 99, and again, excuse me, maybe I'm a bad journalist because I don't know, you know, like who's behind this, or I don't know a ton about it. I haven't really spent time looking into it, but it sounds like it's kind of an anonymous sort of social media site or whatever. If you guys know more, feel free to fill in the blanks. But I'm just saying, journalistically, you have a responsibility to understand where the source of that information is. It's the same thing as asking somebody, how do you know that information when they give it to you? So where did you get this video? Where did it come from? And not just be so thirsty to put it out there that you ignore those sort of journalistic things. So I hear what you're saying, Michelle. I'm not trying to be resistant because I think you make some strong points, and I'm kind of giving some benefit of the doubt to like Fox 19 that maybe they did this work and they felt good about that knowledge and information to go out and publish it. I don't know. I don't work for Fox 19. We didn't have the video. Those are questions Trisha Mackey and Fox 19 have to answer.
That's the only thing that I hate about this whole thing. I'll be quick, but that's the only thing I hate about this whole thing. Like from a broadcasting standpoint, from a journalistic standpoint, This is like one step away from just plucking a video off of YouTube and presenting it as news. Like, what are we doing? Like, there's no reason why we should, as the public, even have seen this video without us knowing exactly where it came from, who recorded it. Like, there's so much information missing. Why do we even have this information? Like, because it changed nothing. It did nothing, but I have to slightly agree with Tarris, but incite people who were already angry. It probably made them a little bit more angry. I don't necessarily agree that that's gonna send them. It's gonna give them more motivation to get to the polls because I feel like they were already going regardless. Or if they're just not a voter, they just wasn't gonna like. They're just what they weren't gonna go. But I will say that it bothers me that like this anonymous Facebook group. Like I don't know much about them either. This is literally my first time hearing about Signal 99. I'm not gonna lie. But they sound if I'm familiar with them, like I'm familiar with the group that is called Anonymous, the same concept applies. They claim to have this insider information and but what I'm familiar with the group that's called Anonymous is typically when they put information out there, they tell you where they got it from, who recorded it, all that other stuff. This is just like somebody saying, "Oh, well, we got this footage," and it looks similar enough to what we've already seen to where, we can, if we want to, we can believe that it's legitimate, that is true. But AI is doing some amazing things these days. I don't know if y'all know that AI is doing some amazing things. I remember when deep fakes first became a thing, and like celebrities were having to like sue these people because they were creating deep fakes with their image that looked very real. Like it's just too much. There's too much gray area for us to just be taking stuff like this and putting it in front of the people. As a prior former journalist, I'm not gonna put nothing in front of my audience that I can't tell them exactly where I got it from and who sent it to me, or like I'm just not gonna do that because I respect my job in journalism too much to do something like that. So I do have to look at Trisha or whoever presented it kind of sideways. Like, why would you put this in front of the public without having a reliable source to cite for this? It doesn't make any sense. It does give that you're trying to push some kind of agenda or propaganda, and I don't like it.
There's no question that there's a propaganda. There's no question that there's a propaganda and their agenda being pushed. And they got the video from 3CDC, I believe it's a 3CDC camera that they got the video from, if I'm not mistaken. So there's the source of where the video came from. But and the reason, and how do you know that, Terry? Just from I don't know. Okay, I don't know that for sure. I'm not saying I don't know that for sure. It looked like, from what I've heard and what I've seen, and I'll check my sources, but it looked like it was from a 3CDC camera. From all the from the thread that I've read, from the threads that I have read, it looked like it came from a 3CDC camera. I don't know that for sure. But I want to say this, and I'll leave it alone. Michelle's absolutely correct about the agenda that they're trying to push. And it's far right and far left that are doing it. They don't think like us in the middle. They don't think like us at all. They don't think like us that have journalistic backgrounds, media backgrounds. They don't think that who have been to college and who learn how to think critically. They haven't been to college to learn how to, when people present information, who is the source. They are just consumers, and that's the people who's like these websites are going after, is these bottom-feeding consumers. So when we're thinking, why would they do that? Why would they? They're not looking. So when I'm reporting back, I'm reporting back of the things that I read in these feeds and what they're saying. And then we can dismiss it all you want. Oh, they don't feel that way. They don't feel like, these are the things that they're saying. It's not safe to go downtown because, this, what you see right there, he wasn't doing nothing. He was standing there from watching a silent film. They can tell whatever story they want to. So until we get audio, it did nothing to change. I just want to make it clear that I agree with Michelle that they're pushing a narrative on far right and far left. It's us in the middle to have to call truth to it and to back it up with sensible stuff.
All right, let's move on. New question, new topic: trick or truth. Cincinnati would be better served without a Democrat majority on city council. Trick or truth? What do you think? Michelle, what do you think?
Oh, you're going to go to me first. I knew you were going to do that. This reminds me of the first time I came on Hot Mic, that you had another guest, and I really appreciated his point. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he talked about when you don't have any opposition, and you feel safe and you're in a super majority or full 100% majority, you can kind of lay back and not be challenged on the issues, that maybe you campaigned on, ran on, that the community expects you to be working hard at. And I think we got to some of that with this 100% all D group that we've had. And I've been listening, and I've been one of the ones saying there's a lot of Democrats who are disappointed in the full majority and not being able to get big things done, given their complete majority. However, it's a little more nuanced than that. Of course, being a Democrat, we are that's a very big spectrum. And here in Cincinnati, we have a lot of Democrats with a D after their name that are on the very far conservative side of the Democratic Party, I would say. And some of us call them corporate Democrats. These are people who kind of carry the water for the business community, the chambers of commerce, versus, the far left of the party, which is going to be more concerned about working poor and poor folks and, fairness in taxation and representation and all of that. So we have a city that's a pretty corporate town. We're a Fortune 500 town, and we have all Democrats on council, and they've pretty much just carried the water for the business community. We don't see a whole lot they didn't even support the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. I've said this before, but it was a really easy, not dangerous thing to support. They wouldn't even do that. So yes, I think that there should be a challenge. And again, given the spectrum, I am actually hoping that some of these folks don't come back and that some other folks do come back. Now, I would say cautionary tale, though, it's a small town after all, and we kind of know each other a lot. Like you might say, hey, Steve Gooden's a good guy, or, Liz King, she's a great woman. She volunteered at the pools when we didn't have enough people, lifeguards at the pool, and she stepped up. Fine. But I would encourage you to remember that if you look at their campaign finance reports, these folks who are on the R side are squarely Republican. They are getting Republican money from Republican people, and they are, going to respond to their special interests that help get them elected. And for this city, we are a mostly D city, Democrat, and I you might think that these people are nice people, but they're still Republicans. I'm sorry. So if you don't like MAGA and you don't like Trump, then you shouldn't be putting your vote for people who are getting Republican money and on the Republican ticket. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I think it's a trick question, and here's why I say that. First of all, technically, these council races and the mayor races are supposed to be nonpartisan. Mm-hmm. I think it's actually a little bit ridiculous that we even do have parties who are competing for these offices, because by and large, you're talking about paving streets, picking up people's garbage, law enforcement, stuff that should not have a D or R affiliated with any of those types of decisions that are serving the citizens of Cincinnati. I think, those types of things are, probably better for state and federal positions than local positions, because everybody kind of lives here, Cincinnati, and what really the city council is in charge of isn't these huge type of political issues that require you to be Republican or Democrat. I'll say that first and foremost. Secondly, to Michelle's point, I think that it's more important to have diversity of thought. In many ways, having a majority Democratic council should make things easier to get done, should make it easier to get big things done. Unfortunately, we haven't really seen that with this Democratic council, which to me speaks to maybe a little bit of a lack of imagination about, how to attack some of the challenges in Cincinnati. So it might not necessarily be that all Democratic council is a bad thing. I think you just maybe need to get some different, more forward-thinking people there who have diversity of thought. And as Michelle said, I think there are plenty of ranges of attitudes and thought processes within the Democratic Party. It's a big tent. The Democratic Party is a very big tent party, and there's a lot of different philosophies and thought processes within the Democratic Party that can present challenges. Even if you have a D, even if all of you have a D behind your name, you can still challenge somebody on a particular point of view as it relates, because not all Democrats agree or see issues the same way. And so I think you can get the diversity and the challenge that you think even within an all Democratic council. But if you're asking me what I think there are some candidates who are not Democrats this year who would make city council better simply by the fact that I think not just their challenge, but I think they would bring some things to the table that we're currently not seeing from this current iteration of council.
But care to share any names?
Of non-Democratic candidates
that you think fits what you just said,
maybe too.
Yeah, I mean, I like Christopher Smitherman. I like Lakita Cole. I like Liz Keating. I think any one of those three would be good additions. I mean, I think Liz Keating, when she was on council, did a lot of positive things when she was on there. I think she was somebody who tried to listen, to the people of Cincinnati. Even though she was a Republican, I don't think she ran like a MAGA. I don't think she acted or performed like a MAGA candidate, when she was on Cincinnati council last time. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's just Michelle. I'm just saying,
you had Smitherman standing on a stage with gubernatorial candidate Vivek, right? Stumping for him. And I'm just, how do you reconcile, like, okay, Christopher Smitherman, and I've said on this show that he did good things for Cincinnati Public Schools when we were negotiating a new tax agreement. He was actually on our side, so to speak. But overall, I just don't understand how someone who's so against what Vivek is talking about, privatizing, getting rid of property taxes, all this stuff, how you can make it make sense that, but Smitherman's okay. I just don't.
Well, I think so. I happen to, I know Smitherman a little bit, and I've spent a lot of time, as a journalist sitting down talking with Smitherman, and I get some of what he does is not particularly popular in some Black circles and particularly Democratic circles. But I think Smitherman fashions himself as someone who is in the middle, neither Democrat nor Republican. And I think he sees himself as somebody who can understand both sides of the issue and tries to talk in ways that can get messages.
That, Kevin, but I'm saying if Trump comes to Cincinnati and says, we're going to bring in the National Guard in Cincinnati to quell community violence, Smitherman is going to be a vote to say, sure, bring them in. So I mean,
and I think he already made a statement. I think when that whole topic came up, and I don't agree with him at all on this particular issue. I think he made some sort of statement in saying that after the brawl, he might have brought the National Guard
too. And of course, this is a nice guy and he's done some good things, but look at the campaign finance reports there. I just looked at all of them myself because you could just click on it and you could see who's giving who money. And I mean, it matters. I know it's a nonpartisan race but people are partisan. And you made the point that it's just about paving streets and snow plows. Well, that itself, there's two different ways to pave a street, right? I mean, you can either privatize and sub it out and give 3CDC all what used to be city jobs with good pensions and good pay, right? That's what we did with 3CDC. We just turned over Fountain Square and we turned over a lot of the streetscape stuff in downtown. And they tag us like 3 different ways. Now 3CDC does, right? Or you can have good union paying jobs with pensions and people who work for the city and, aren't basically like temps, I mean, there is real decisions based in your philosophy of the role of government. And so I think party does matter. And, these 9 Democrats, let's not forget, they sold a railroad. I mean, in most cases, if you're a Democrat, you're not supporting selling off city assets. I mean, that's just kind of a basic tenet of being a Democrat is that you want to keep things public and public, So the railroad is an example of we can't even count on people who say they're Democrats to really follow the rules, so to speak, of what Democrats are usually about. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that people.
I want to make a point
about Michelle said. She said something about all Republicans being MAGA. Come on, man. I mean, I get it. I get what you're saying. I get what you're trying to say. But that's like me saying all Democrats agree with AOC and the left wing, far left radicals that are on the left. That I know that you don't stand with some of their ideology. So when you typecast all Republicans in MAGA, and you say all Republicans are MAGA, and you just put us all in that category, it's unfair, and it offers a counter for us to do the same things, especially when we're in the majority.
Okay, fine, but is Bowman MAGA? Because
yeah.
Okay,
But that's why it's important to have people like myself in your echo chamber. So whenever you make statements like that, and then whenever you're like, I don't understand why the Republicans won't listen to the Democrats when they're in the majority. They should be working together. We should all be working together. And then you make statements like all Republicans are MAGA.
So listen,
I'm like, whoa.
What's the difference between? I mean, seriously, help me understand. What's the difference between a MAGA Republican and just a regular old Republican, as it relates to a situation like increased police forces? Like, just let's take a specific issue. What's the difference between a MAGA and a regular Republican if you're thinking about militarizing your city and bringing in federal forces? What's the difference?
Too easy. Thomas Massey versus whoever Trump puts against him, MAGA in 2026 primary. That will determine everything. And I understand what you're saying, but I'm just asking you guys, and I'll step off of this because I don't feel like defending myself on this too much more. We'll talk about this in May. As a Republican, I fight every day against MAGA, just like you fight against MAGA. So when I hear people say all Republicans are MAGA, I'm just like, come on. That makes me want to side.
Like
that makes me want to side.
I mean,
yes.
But
there's two different sets. The Republican Party is torn right now, and I'll leave it at that. Yeah. We can get going back to this subject, but please, because it gives me less empathy when I see the Republicans doing what they do, like taking SNAP benefits, because I don't agree with that. But when I hear, oh, you can't vote, you got to vote party line, you got to vote party, like vote blue no matter who, and not doing a due diligence like you did, Michelle, you did a due diligence. Please support that. Go into campaign finance. See where the money's coming from. See, and not just in the city council, from their state representative, landsmen, all of them. Is get APAC money. Who's your Commonwealth, or who your county Democratic Party and Republican Party receiving their money from? All that. But to typecast all us Republicans and make us all MAGA is a disservice to all the work that I've been doing.
But you know what? If I can just interject real quick, you know why it's so easy to typecast all Republicans as MAGA? It's because when MAGA is in a position of power, y'all just fall in line. So to Michelle's point, this is what it's not our because since you're familiar with making assumptions. So since we are in that familiar area for you, it is very easy to make that assumption that all Republicans are MAGA, because when, like I just said, when MAGA is in a position of power, like I don't know, the highest office in the government right now, y'all tend to fall in line. And so if you are dealing with if you have a large constituency that is MAGA, whether you're a MAGA Republican or not, you're going to lean into the ideologies and the preferred policies of your constituency. And if they are in line with MAGA,
to your point, Raven, to Raven's point, what she just said, you're talking about Chris Smitherman. I don't want to even talk about this Cincinnati council race because I'm not in Cincinnati, but y'all talking about Chris Smitherman, and Chris Smitherman has a better relationship with all the legislation who's in power right now. So why wouldn't y'all want somebody like that on city council who has a good relationship with them? So that's what blows my mind whenever I get into the Democratic Party echo chambers, and you guys think that you guys can solve everything in a democracy that is made to encapsulate both.
So ask Dr. DEI here. What does he think about, I mean, we're talking about real consequences of these people in power and making fiscal decisions like Trump threatening universities that you have to decrease your enrollment of foreign-born students because we no longer want to have foreign-born students in our universities. I mean, these are real consequences.
Yeah, here's what I would say. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. She
yeah.
asked you. No, go ahead, Nathan. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump in
That's
front
all
of you,
good.
bro.
That's all
My
good.
bad.
So I answered my own question. Trick or true, Cincinnati would be better served without a Democrat majority on council. I think it's a trick. And I crafted the question because I hear a lot of people and I see a lot of people primarily on social media saying, you know, don't vote the slate. Don't vote the slate. We need something new. We need something new. And I agree with you. But I don't think that means that something new means not a Democrat majority. When I look at the slate, honestly, I see a lot of names I don't recognize. But I ask myself, would that be better for Cincinnati? And if so, how? I think that city council negativity sells and travels further. I think city council has got a lot more done. I want to believe this. Some I can't articulate, some I'm just believing it. I think and believe they've done a lot of good work, but there's been some hiccups. There's still a lot of dissatisfaction and a lot of propaganda. And people are like, oh, I need somebody different. I think some of these people that everybody is like, yeah, that's my grassroots person. If they get on city council in 2 years, you'll be saying the same things about them that you're saying about the Democrats right now. Because I think there's a lack of understanding about how things work and how fast things actually work as well, and how fast you see results. On the names that Praying Mantis mentioned, yeah, it's something to consider. People should do what they're going to do. But I just wonder if they're in the minority, how effective they're going to be. And if they're in the majority, where are they really going to lead us?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be in the majority. I mean, there's still going to be a majority Democratic city council. I think that's a given.
Yeah, but what I'm questioning is that the problem, right? Is the majority Democrat, is that the problem? Do we need a new majority, a charter right, Republican, or some kind of hybrid majority?
I don't think that that's the problem. Again, I think it's who you're electing. And don't forget, the mayor has because the mayor sets the city council agenda. He has a big role. So I can be a council member and I can have a great idea. I can have a piece of legislation that I might want to bring forward. But if the mayor don't want to put it, if he doesn't want to put it on the agenda, it doesn't get on the agenda. So I think I think we have to remember that that's still a way that it works. That's not an excuse for anybody, because I just don't. I happen to think that we just haven't had a lot of good stuff. We haven't had a lot of good stuff coming forward. But I'm just saying that as you're talking about how things work, that can be an impediment. And it's why the mayor is important as well, because the mayor does kind of control the council agenda. So I'm only saying that as a point. But I think it's about who you elect, who has ideas. Like as a member of the media, one of the things that I always try to ask candidates, and what are your ideas? What do you want to do? What do you want to change? What are you going to advocate for? Don't just, and I just don't know that I hear a ton of that coming out of the candidates or even voters asking. Like those are the things that I want to know, and don't rely on always on the local media these are questions voters should be asking them when you've got them at forums or you see them out. What's your plan? What are you gonna do? It was one of the things that frustrated me when John Cranley won his reelection the second time. I felt like he skated through an entire campaign without a single new idea. And like that didn't bother anybody. And so I don't think that it matters. To Michelle's point, it does for some of the things that she brought up. I understand the point that she was making about the partisanism, but I really think it's more of a factor of creativity and the ideas that people are bringing to the table. And are they worth advancing? And are you able to, negotiate and create consensus among your council counterparts and being able to sell your ideas and create consensus? Do we have those kinds of individuals on council currently, and do you have any in the crop? The names I threw out are all people who have track records, right? That's what you also need to look at. Michelle said Smitherman's done some good things, right? But I don't like him because he sat with Vivek Ramaswamy. So are we gonna, or this, that, or the other? So are we gonna look at the track record and what he did that was good and positive? Or are we going to look at these other things? Or are we going to look at these other things and say, well, I saw what he did, but I didn't like this over here.
Yeah,
we can look at what
but
Liz
the thing
Keating
over there
did
is not a
say,
small
well,
thing.
We thought she served well and she did a good job, but she's a Republican. I mean, are we going to look at the track record or are we?
Yeah,
not?
But you got to. But Republican don't mean what it used to be, and that's not the people's fault.
And by the way, Smitherman is not a Republican. He's
he
he
said that
Republican
earlier about
money.
you
and
you
every
can't blame the
Republican
people.
in my neighborhood has his sign in their yard. Every single one.
You can't blame the people because the Republican brand is under fire. That's the Republicans' fault. If people are looking at Republicans sideways, that's their fault. And as it relates to Smitherman, I heard what you said about he's fashions himself as being in the middle. Okay, I like that. But what I see is more right stuff. I don't really see Mr. Smitherman with a lot of left people. And I don't see everything. But if people look at it through that lens, maybe it's social media, maybe it's whatever their limited lens is, I think that's fair to look at everything. You know, I mean, there's a part of me that just likes to create chaos, that likes the idea of Smitherman getting on campus on city council again, because he gonna muck it up. He gonna point fingers and call people out. And quite honestly, it was part of the reason why I like Michelle on city council, because I didn't think she was gonna be the regular Democrat. She was this is my perception, that she was gonna go down there and call people out and stand her ground. Well, and that might be why she never got on city council. But I think that's what I feel like is missing on city council. Like, we don't have any rabble rousers, right? We don't have anybody that wants to get into some good trouble, right? It just feels like everybody wants to be kumbaya and be friends. And I know that's not true. We had Scotty Johnson on, and clearly there's some differences, but that's just my viewpoint. I don't have to be right, but.
And it's not just, it's beyond the office. It's not just about the person. It's about all the appointment power that they have. These are the people that appoint people to our Metro board and our tax boards. I mean, there's a lot to the office that beyond the person and the party affiliation. And it's who is influencing them and who has helped them get to where they are, and what interests are they representing when they then elevate everyone else into power, right? And that's why this matters. It's not just the person and their individual vote. It's the whole thing. It's like who's going to get the funding? Is the police budget going to get even bigger, or are we going to actually put some money over into prevention? We've debated that before. I mean, it matters. And it's also who's their staffers? Who are they bringing in? Whose bench is being built? That's what I'm concerned about. I mean, yeah, maybe you're a good guy and you have an R after your name, but guess what? You're going to be building up all those other R people. And I have a problem with the R's because of the policy positions that they take as it relates mostly to working class issues. I don't want to see more Republicans in power, because those are the ones who are against unions and against living wage ordinances and getting minimum wage up to where it should be. I mean, these are the people that fight against that stuff. The Chamber of Commerce in Cincinnati fights against the interests of working and poor people. No question. Their entire agenda is against working people and poor people. So, I mean, there are forces in this town. A lot of these people, I see them as puppets. They're just there, but their strings are being pulled by much stronger and more, smarter forces than they even are themselves. I mean, so the question is, I get who you're presenting yourself to me as a candidate, but who's behind you? Who is pushing you? Who is influencing you? Who is telling you in your ear who should get on the Metro board or get on that board? I mean, that's what I want to know. That's why I look at campaign finance reports. Who's funding you? Who's behind you? Who cares about you? Who's fighting for you? That stuff matters. And so when I see who these people are in these host committees of fundraisers and where you're having your where are you having your functions? Whose houses are you raising money at? All that stuff matters, because those people want a return on their investment, and they're going to get it. If
so, Michelle, so then how troubled are you that the lenders who are best friends with the Trump, are big donors for the mayor?
I was not surprised whatsoever. This mayor is a complete tool of the business community. I mean, he's from Procter & Gamble. I mean, you can't get more. He is a corporate Democrat. And of course, the lenders are smart people with their investment. It's a good investment. They know Bowman. Bowman is not running for mayor. Okay. I mean, he's running for mayor, but this is just to get his name out and get through all the ghosts in his closet, to keep with today's theme, right? Who's the monsters under his bed? Let's get him out now in this little race that he doesn't care about so that they can prop him up for the big leagues, right? Then they'll have gotten all the cobwebs out of the closet on him. They'll get through it, and then they're going to prop him up. Look at his campaign finance report. He only raised $13,000, and his brother is the vice president of the United States. Yeah. You think they care about this race? Gross. They don't care about this race.
Michelle, you made my exact point. Thank you for that, because I said the same thing. I was like, if this was really a race that they cared about, that the Republicans cared about, or even thought that they could win, they would have dumped crazy amounts of money into Corey Bowman's campaign. And the fact what you just said, $13,000, that might get him 1,300 votes in next week. We'll see, because I don't know if he got much more than that in the primary last time around. I mean, that's why exactly what you said is why when people ask me if he's got a chance on Tuesday, without hesitation, I say no.
After the brawl,
that right there.
After the brawl, and then after what we did with the brawl, I really think that they were done. I hate to toot our horns, but I think when they attacked with the brawl and they sent JD Vance and his stuff in, his comments, and Bernie Moreno with their comments, and then we countered, and not just us, but the black community, and stood up for ourselves and against MAGA's push, they backed off. It was over, because if that would have worked, we've been looking at a whole different, if it would have been anywhere else except Cincinnati, we would have been looking at a completely different takeover of a city, because all the things were fine. JD Vance's brother, who couldn't get behind that in a non-democratic city that is heavily tribe of Judah black. If it was any other factors, it could have went another way, but I think that we had a lot to do with that Corey Bowman's demise.
I just push back on you a little bit there, Tarris. It just depends on what your notion of work is. You think getting Corey Bowman elected shows the tactics that they use with the brawl didn't work. I would very much disagree with you, because getting Corey Bowman elected was never the goal. I think they've been very successful with the tactics that they use in Cincinnati. I think they were very effective. When you get $5.2 million going to a crime fighting bill, that's going to get more police. 3CDC gets another $1 million. You got the mayor, soft shoeing, so that you can try to keep Donald Trump, out of the city. I think they were damn effective with the tactics and what they did. And I think they got everything they wanted, and probably some things they didn't count on. But I don't think Corey Bowman being mayor was ever one of those things that they were really trying to get out of what they did with the brawl.
Raven, any thoughts? What do you think about this?
If we can circle back to the original question, it's a lot that goes into it. I think that what we've seen for the last few years, if I'm not mistaken, is a Democrat majority, and I can't say that I'm the happiest with it as a constituency, or as a constituent rather. There have been a lot of decisions being made on my behalf that I don't necessarily agree with, but I think that it's just another case of, I am somebody who does believe that you don't vote all the way down the ticket. I am somebody who believes that you put people in positions of power who serve the interests of you and your family. And I think that, if I can just, be the young person in the room for a second, I do think that my generation is more open to that concept than some of my elders. If I'm just keeping it honest, I think that a lot of us have already kind of adopted that idea and that frame of mind, where I don't necessarily have to see all D's or all R's in positions of power for me to get the things that I want to see done. I think that is also why, again, that last election was so difficult for the Democratic Party, because I think that they relied on what has always kind of been the formula, which is, put out who we think is best and they'll just vote down the ticket. And we've seen that that's no longer the standard. We've seen that that's no longer a winning strategy. And I think that it's honestly, as the older vote ages out, or God forbid dies out, we're gonna see more of a push for a more diverse council. That's just what I believe. As far as the young people that I know, my peers who vote in the city of Cincinnati and they vote for things like this, eventually we're going to get to a point where that Democratic majority is no longer going to be a thing, because they're not meeting the needs and they're not doing the things that we wish to see. And so they're just gonna lose. Eventually that majority is going to be lost unless the Democratic Party in Cincinnati and Ohio kind of, shifts gears and makes some changes. It's not gonna last long. And it's unfortunate, because I do think that, as Kevin's point was before, that we should be able to get more done with a Democratic majority, but it's just not what we've seen. It's not what we've been witness to. And unfortunately, that's just not gonna be good. That's not good enough. That's not good enough anymore. And so I do think that yeah, we're in for a ride. I think that if the goal of getting young voters to be consistent voters is where we are pointing our attention to, we're gonna have to be comfortable with losing that majority, because it's not gonna if they're not gonna meet the need, they're not going to be in those positions of power. If we achieve getting young voters to go out and vote consistently, it's just not gonna be a thing no more. And I'm okay with that, personally.
All right, let's move on. I got an image here. Check this out. This is an image of a statue downtown outside the Red Stadium of Marty Brenneman, who's a longtime legendary, very talented play-by-play announcer. And this week, someone vandalized it. And it turns out it was a 13-year-old teenager. And as we speak, as I understand it, unless there's some new information, this young man is in juvenile detention. So here's my question, trick or treat. A 13-year-old is legally a minor. Detention is extreme for an act of property damage. What do you think? You agree with that? Trick or treat? Trick or truth?
Here's why I say I think that's a bit of a trick, because I think the young man probably wouldn't be in detention right now if his mother had wanted to take him back home. I think they even asked the mother, like, hey, can he come back home? And the mom was like, no, he needs to be in there because he's got some issues, right? And so it's apparent that that there are some challenges in the house, some dysfunction there in the house, whether that comes from the mother or the 13-year-old. It really is just kind of a sad situation, and is an example of what I think a lot more families than what we realize deal with in the city on a regular basis, whether that's a parent's inability to control their kid, or a kid who is, not necessarily having the best parenting taking place at home. And so they're out in the community acting out, whether that's, participating in some of the violence or property damage that we're seeing. And so I don't disagree with you, Nathan, that, that do you want to have a 13-year-old locked up for property damage? Probably not. But I think the circumstances around this, I think he would have been home if mom had said, come home. But it sounds like there are some larger issues there that say this young man might not need to be in detention, but perhaps he needs to be somewhere where he's getting some kind of help and treatment for whatever's going on with him.
Should he have even been arrested, though? But go ahead. Anybody else? Trick or truth? What do you think?
13-year-old is legally, I believe. I had a son who did something similar. He spray painted some stuff when he was a kid. My other son's in the chat, by the way. What's up, Chris? My son, he was vandalizing some buildings or some spray painting, tagging shit, and he got caught. So we had an opportunity. We were like, what are we going to do with him? Juvie? And we had the opportunity to send him to military school. There's a thing in Kentucky called Bluegrass Challenge Academy. So we sent him off to Bluegrass Challenge Academy, got him right, put him through boot camp, brought him back. He graduated from school, so he was a success story. Another thing, behind me, Dayton, Kentucky, where I'm a city councilman, we just built a $500,000 park where we got new pickleball courts and $500,000 or $250,000 for the kids to play on. One of my favorite moments is cutting the ribbon and watching them kids run on that playground. Amazing. But the pickleball the other day, and some kid out there is taking a tree, a $15,000 tree that we just planted, and was yanking it back and forth. So I'm like, if your parent's not down here I'm going to be your parent in this moment. Get off the tree and go home. And so this is a real tricky situation because, like, the get off my lawn person and legislator that I am, I'm like, lock them up. Lock them up. I don't care what color they are. Lock them up. Let their parents deal with it. Until then, the taxpayers are going to keep, as a legislator and a parent who put my kid through military school when he was going. So it's all anecdotal. These are opinion-based things. So my opinion is, if they're 13 years old and they're doing that kind of stuff, if the family cannot, because once you let one 13-year-old do it, you're going to let all the 13-year-olds are going to do it, and you're going to have to keep replacing stuff. And it's a ongoing thing. So I think you got to teach them lessons. And if it's not locking them up, have alternative methods like Bluegrass Challenge Academy to send these kids to get some proper home training if they're not getting it home.
Sorceress?
Well, there's this quote, this proverb that I heard once, and it kind of resonates with, I mean, it's an odd one, but I'll just say it. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. And it's an African proverb, but that just, so this kind of story is tragic, right? I mean, you have a child acting out, tearing up some public property. And then in the news, the mother's story, in the article, I read it, she said, I have 6 children. I have a 6-month-old. This particular child is dangerous. He's presenting a danger to the rest of my kids. He's out of control, and I've had a lot of problems with him. And no, I can't take him back home safely. And so clearly, the mother needs support. The siblings probably need support. The child himself. And the question is, do you keep him in juvenile? Because they say, well, but he's not really getting treatment in juvenile. He's just sitting there, right? It's not like he's getting wrapped around with supportive, services necessarily. And then I guess he's got a lawyer, maybe some, when these kids have lawyers for themselves, pro bono,
advocate,
pro bono.
like something, an advocate,
something like that. I'm forgetting the word, but they're saying, well, look, this kid really needs actually treatment. Probably he shouldn't be sitting juvenile. He should go to this intensive outpatient. And then, of course, I'm sure the whole factor of like the resources and does he have insurance and who can, care for this child? Is there even room for him to go somewhere? Is there a waiting list? I mean, the whole damn story is tragic. And again, it just tells me that we are not doing a good job in this city caring for our children. And I say we, all of us. And again, that proverb, the child who's not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. It just strikes me as whenever there's an incident of community violence, it is the community that needs to take stock. And that means all of us. What's all of our responsibilities in this story, other than looking at it as if it's just some clickbait, or like circus sideshow. Let's peer into this, let's look at the roadkill. I mean, we got to reject that and pivot and instead ask all of ourselves, how can we do better so that we don't have 13-year-olds sitting in prison, essentially?
Prison and juvie are 2 different things. Prison and juvie are 2 different things.
I agree with Michelle. Let's hear from Raven. Hey, hold on one second, Kevin. Can we hear from Raven first? Let's let everybody get in real quick.
I was just gonna say that I think that we can all agree that intervention is needed. And who better than to understand that fully than this child's mother, who, she's at her wit's end. Based on the statement that said within the article, she is at her wit's end. She is identified that I have no more strategy. I have no more idea how to deal with this issue with this child or whatever the case may be. I don't have it within me. I don't have the resources. But I do know that some intervention is required. Now, what that intervention looks like is a whole different conversation. That would be based off of, again, witness, I guess, from what mom says is true with his behavior in the home. I would also tap in with that child's teachers, then their administrators when they go to school, like any adult in that child's life who is considered an authority figure or somebody who, you know, is whether it be permanent or temporary guardianship at any point. They need to come together, as Michelle said, as a community and put all the pieces together to figure out what exactly is needed for this child. Because I don't believe that a child should be going to juvie or jail for vandalism. Like it's not a violent crime. The sentencing doesn't fit the crime. You know what I mean? And so I think that unfortunately we do live in a situation where we don't have enough resources for these kids. We have the same conversation every summer when these kids go out and they get into fights and they do all this stuff over the summer. They don't have nothing to do. They don't have nowhere to go. This is what happens when it's not the summertime. Now we're talking about kids who, you know, they don't have the distraction of being in school for 8 hours a day and that kind of, you know, taking the wind out of their sails to be outside and doing stuff they ain't got no business doing. This is a child who doesn't seem to have any extracurricular activities. So maybe let's look into that. Like how like what are we doing before this child is outside with free time on his hands? Why are we not occupying this child's time with something? There are things that come before just relegating a 13-year-old child to the justice system. I don't care whether we want to, you know, differentiate between prison or juvie or whatever the case may be, because I know Tarris was trying to make that point. Don't matter. This is a child who has now become part of our justice system. We could have done something before it got to this point. What does that look like moving forward for because I'm not even sure if it's possible now for this child to do something else. We like between the mom and between, you know, the judge who gave him juvie, they've already given him over to the system. How do we make sure that this doesn't happen again for another 13-year-old who might be having issues that can be addressed and that can be intervened before we even get to this point? What does that look like?
I'm with you 1,000%. You know, I just played the video. You know, listen, ultimately, I blame the individual, the 13-year-old themselves, for the act of vandalism. I agree 1,000% with what Raven just said. This is not the type of offense, in my humble opinion, but people are going to call me a bleeding heart liberal, so be it. I'll wear it, that should lead to being arrested. If anything, what we need to do is whoever designed this was all wrong from the beginning. It should never be that easy for a 13-year-old who weighs 85 pounds to jump up like we just saw and rip off this. This was bound to happen. You know, if he didn't do it, then a pigeon would have landed on it and it would have broke. This was
Leave it to the barbarian.
What is that? What is that thing anyway?
It's a microphone.
It's a microphone. That was an accident waiting to happen. I don't blame the child. I blame the architects behind this. It's inferior architectural design. It was bound to happen. We got harsh weather systems. It was going to break this winter anyway with about 2 or 3 inches of snow. So bad design on their part. But
you showed the video. That's not outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, he just jumped up there and came off so easy. It was bound to happen. You would have had some tourists from Toronto that loves the Reds. They would have leaned against it. It would have broke anyway.
It's no
also, can we just make it very clear? This is not out of the ordinary for a 13-year-old to do. Have you ever seen a 13-year-old especially a 13-year-old boy, how they just be jumping up and tapping the wall because they can? Like, they do stuff like this. So this is not out of the realm for a regular like a teenager. Like and to relegate him to the system, it just makes no sense. Where are his extracurriculars? Where could he have been other than walking around the city touching stuff?
If that kid is that strong, he's like Homelander. He's like got superhuman strength.
Put him in the gym right now. He needs to be somebody's next Floyd.
He needs to be in football. He'll be a hell of a running back with a hell of a stiff arm if he's that strong. Raven, exactly right. The uncomfortable truth is we need to do better and find more extracurricular activities. Stop wasting tax dollars by locking this kid up in some kind of juvenile detention. To Michelle's point, he's not going to get rehabilitation. And back to what Raven said, I agree. That family needs love. They need attention. They need services. Mom needs help. I don't know where dad is, but that don't matter. That household needs the village to put their arms around them and help all of them. And locking this kid up ain't necessarily going to do it.
Right.
I take it back. I take it back on locking him up.
Like, y'all are all 100% right, but here's the problem. And Nathan, you said it with the lead in your comments, that people are going to call you a bleeding heart liberal. What y'all are talking about requires people to actually have a heart, to not be judgmental, and to really be willing to not do what we said a lot of people do when we were talking about the SNAP benefits earlier. I can tell you right now, as somebody who hears commentary from all sorts of people all around the city every day, I can tell you that there are people out there sitting here thinking this when they read this story. And Michelle said it, she got 6 kids. Why do you got 6 kids? This is what happens when you have 6 kids. Where's the daddy at? You said it, Nathan. Where's the daddy at?
It was in the chat.
Extracurriculars ain't got nothing to do with that. Personal responsibility. You shouldn't be having 6 kids. If she can't keep up with all of them, why you got 6 kids? That is the type.
It's the same people who don't want people to have birth control or access to reproductive health care.
Well,
right?
yeah. I mean, but there are more people than you would think, Michelle, who think like that. And some people you would be surprised. And then when you talk about, again, taking tax dollars, right, to take care of somebody else's kid because they can't take care of theirs, and empathy is being weaponized and villainized on certain parts of the political spectrum, this is the environment that you're up against now. Yes, everything you talk about requires heart, non-judgment, and empathy. But we don't live in political times or in a society where those things are valued as strengths. They're looked at as weaknesses that people who want to, quote unquote, take advantage of the system, you're enabling it, you're soft on crime, you're all of these buzzwords and catchwords that we hear in the political space now that resonate even with some people on the left. Because I'm sure you got some people in the chat right now who are like, yeah, he need to be in jail. Teach him a lesson, right? And these are the same people who will argue against Trump and MAGA and some of the other stuff, right? So it's a complex mix of what you're talking about. But I agree with everything everybody said. That's what it's going to take. But I don't know that we have the heart or the will as a society to get it done.
Just a thought.
Yeah, their pockets.
Just a thought.
Their pockets. There are people out there who are doing it. But at the scope you guys are talking about to have the impact that's necessary, I'm skeptical.
There's a TV show called Atlanta by Danny Glover, Childish Gambino. He's a producer of it, Atlanta. And there was a show where she has a similar situation as a black family, and the kid kept getting in trouble at school. And the mom said, you keep getting up, them people going to take you. The people are going to take you. And then finally, the people took him and treated him bad, treated him real bad to where it almost killed him. And he ran back home to his mom, his black mom, after they got finished doing him dirty in the system. And she was like, I told you, was right back there to love him. So I'm hoping that hey, we have the power to touch this kid if we wanted to. So, if we talk about it, if we as collectively as us, we can see what this kid's future holds and touch him, talk to him. I'm willing.
Okay, we can't send Telbert because you be Telbert, aka neighborhood Karen, HOA president.
He would
need lock
Come
I would be like, come on in and cut my lawn, young man.
I believe you. I believe you.
And I'll pay him $10 and teach him. And after he mowed my lawn, I'd give him some more work to do.
Will you do that with those people down the street? Then I believe you, but do that with those people down the street and leave them alone.
Why do you think I told him when I see that dude? I'm like, what are you doing? Where are you doing? Hiring at the street. The city's hiring. They're hiring. Well, man, that burns me up. No, I don't like that. I don't like that to see young black men who I feel like can work and I can communicate with them and talk to them like I can my sons, and they have nothing for me. I have a problem with that. And I will forever have a problem with that.
Tarris, I don't know if you realize this, but you're not the best person to do that, maybe. Like, I don't think that you're as well received by young black men as you think you are, and that might be the issue. I'm just spitballing, though.
So okay, I get you. But the ones who do listen, the ones who do listen, and it's way more than you, because I don't go around pat myself, because I get on here and I act a certain way for a certain reason. Because but the people that do listen, it's well worth it. I'm telling you, it's so worth it. It's so. I just had a kid, 4 year. I'll keep this real short, 30 seconds. I did this fundraiser for this guy. His name was Travis Prince. He died from leukemia, and I did a fundraiser for him, and we raised $1,500. It was the same time I was running for city council, so the Democrats in the county were trying to go through my campaign finance reports and stuff like that. I took $500 and gave it to 3 scholarship kids, and I never told anybody that I did it. One of those scholarship kids today, gay, openly gay at Holmes High School, cheerleader. From 5 years ago, 2000, graduating 2000, had to go through his whole high school career being openly gay cheerleader, black man. And he had a horrible high school. Gave him the money. Didn't say nothing. Me and his sister, me and his mom gave him the money. He just won homecoming king at Eastern Kentucky University. Those are the type of things. And because I didn't care, I would talk to him. I'd be like, yeah, man, all them dudes are picking on you, but you still got it. I will talk to them. I might not be well received, but the ones that do listen, they are very successful.
All right. One
Hey
last.
guys,
I know everybody's
I
very
gotta say
busy.
goodbye to the hot mic crew. I got to jump off. It's been really fun today.
All right. Thank you so much,
Dressing
Michelle. I
up.
appreciate you.
Take it easy, everybody.
One last topic, real quick. I want to play this video for you. This gets to the future. And I'm going to play just a little bit of it. It's actually 9 minutes long. I'm not going to play all of it. And I want you to tell me what you think about it. Check this out.
My name is Bernd, and today we're launching Neo, our humanoid for the home.
Neo, the robot, Nene.
Let you live with it.
Yeah.
You're just not telling me? Well, what does it do?
Like my chores, I just leave and I come back and they're all done.
Are you kidding me?
No.
This is the future. Okay, so I think you get the gist of it. So Neo is the new robot home companion, butler, chauffeur, child you never had that you always wanted. I think it's like $20,000 right now. I'm sure it's got upgrades. But here's the question, trick or truth. Robots are going to take over the world and unalive or enslave all humans. Trick or
Absolutely. And y'all are crazy for even bringing this into the stratosphere. What are like art imitates life. I'm dying on this hill. We are going to be our own demise. We are so obsessed with the concept of convenience that we will literally kill ourselves to get it. And I don't care how obtuse y'all think I'm being. I don't care how dramatic y'all think I'm being. We will die at the hands of a robot revolution if we keep playing these games. I'm so serious. Like, first of all, I saw the video before you even sent it in the our prep or whatever. I'm almost more creeped out by the guy who was like standing next to it in the beginning, because that man don't even look human. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of believe in lizard people because he like a lizard person. So that's already alarming to me.
Right? He's an advanced prototype.
Right.
That man looks like a lizard person. But let's focus on the robots. I am not here for. I'll never afford, like, it's $20,000. I'll never be able to afford it, so I'm safe. But for those of y'all who are got the money or who are definitely going to buy this, like I'm almost 100% sure that Kim Kardashian is gonna pop up with one very soon, because she was the one who had the Elon Musk when he released whatever he did. She was one of the very first like known celebrity people to get one and have it like doing little stuff in her house. I'm 100% sure that as soon as she get her hands on one, it's gonna be all over IG and TikTok and all the different places. And like, oh, it makes my skin crawl. And if for no other reason to be happy to be poor, I am extremely ecstatic to be poor that I cannot afford this. Not that I was gonna buy it in the first place, but I'm so happy that I don't have to explain to the rest of my rich friends why I don't have a robot walking around my house when y'all do. I want no part.
Raven, you are too young to have that attitude, because this is your future.
No, it's not.
You're gonna be one of them. You're gonna be one of them. You're gonna be one of them young people that's like 75 years old that ain't taking advantage of none of the technology.
And you're right, because I don't even like AI. If I'm being real with you, I can't stand AI. Yeah. I won't use it for nothing.
Yeah, this is your future. This is your future that's coming up. Hey, look, I would rather have one of those than a car. I'm gonna just be honest with you. $20,000 is a bargain for somebody that's gonna come around and do the chores in my house, take out the trash, fix things, vacuum, sweep, clean up, do all.
And then when you wake up in the middle of the night and it's standing over your bed watching you sleep, you gonna think different.
Hey, listen. Hey, I sleep with a gun in the.
That's crazy. I'm absolutely not. No. I am not buying something that I have to sleep with a gun under my pillow. Are you crazy?
Hey, listen. I would absolutely, and here's why I say that. We already have some of this. It's just not that advanced. I mean, if you got a Roomba in your house, right? If you got one of them electronic things that
a Roomba don't have arms and legs, Kevin,
and sweep up your house, that's just a low grade version of just what you saw right there.
A Roomba doesn't have arms and legs.
That's true. It does have that humanoid look, and I can see how that would be a little bit creepy.
It has opposable thumbs. like
so it can just hem you up if it want to, if it get a mind to. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, but this is absolutely the wave of the future. And although Raven, I've heard experts talk about this, you're not that far-fetched like when it comes to AI. Because there have been some AI experts who say it's tough to predict what will happen when the versions of AI get smarter. Like right now, they're not as smart as humans are, but eventually there will be a point in time where the AI is smarter than us. And nobody can predict sort of what happens when you're dealing with a super intelligence, something that can think on a level that you can't think on. And so even the experts would admit that it's hard to predict what could come out of that. And some people are saying that that's coming sooner rather than later. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. And with this stuff being unregulated, with competition being what it is, with other countries who are trying to develop AI, good luck with that. We're not going to slow down the advancements because we're in competition with China and other countries. So, I mean, what Raven says is not far-fetched. It's not out of the realm of believability. I just so happen to think we'll kill ourselves before the machines will, though. That's where I'm at. We'll figure out a way, and we're rapid.
It's gonna be assisted suicide, and then robots are gonna be the culprit.
Yeah. If we don't get this stuff figured out politically, we may be on a much faster track to killing ourselves than the robots.
I think Pamela's on point. Let me highlight what she has. So she writes, my grandfather said in the 1970s, quote, there will come a time when man will outsmart himself out of a job. This has come true. It has certainly come true. And I'll say it again. I'm a big fan of sci-fi, like really, really deep into the culture, the history, the meaning of it. Probably read and watched a whole bunch of stuff that most people would not have. And sci-fi at its core is commentary about the world and the future. Sci-fi movies have already told us. Didn't you watch The Terminator? Didn't you watch iRobot? Didn't you watch The Matrix, which is really more commentary about how these big corporations have turned us into batteries? But I mean, it's like, don't you already see where this is going? And Kevin, we do know what happens because we are the smartest, quote unquote, and most intelligent beings on the earth. And yet we are the only one of God's creatures that damages and destroys its own ecosystem. So we know exactly what a super intelligence will do. The same things that we did. Same things where it's going to be destroy, control, destroy, and control. This is all bad. Having said all that, you're right. It is the wave of the future. Kim Kardashian or T-Pain or Michael B. Jordan's going to pop up with one. And then, you know, they'll replace the assistants at the Grammys. You know, you'll see them at the Grammys. They'll be getting their hair together. They'll replace all kinds of things that human assistants used to do. And before you know it, it'll become like second place. And it'll be like the Nintendo or a microwave or I don't know, a dishwasher, right? It'll be like the purview of the wealthy and everybody will want it, right? I want a dishwasher. I want a $20,000 robot that'll scratch my back and walk my dog and, you know, clean my house and cook my favorite foods. It's unavoidable, but it's also inevitable. And I don't think it's good at all. So no, it's the truth. Robots, AI robots will be the unaliving and or the enslavement of humankind. And it might even happen in our lifetimes.
Or if I'll even say if like 100% probably not even in my lifetime will it become like total world domination by robots. But what I will say is that what will happen is that phase that you were just, explaining, Kevin, where it'll slowly ease its way into society. It'll start with the upper echelon, and it'll be the trendy thing that the rest of us peasants can't afford just yet.
Yeah.
And then as that thing advances, we'll start getting basic versions of it that we can afford, and then over time it will start transitioning out and making obsolete all of those jobs that most humans don't want to do or work or pay for. Why pay for a plumber when I can just have one in my home who does it, and I've already paid the $20,000 for it, or I already paid the $5,000, or however much it'll be at that time. I can making that whole industry completely obsolete, and then over time, as it makes that entire industry obsolete, that's going to cause tension because those people are going to have to work somewhere to make a living to feed their family. Those people will be relegated to other tasks that require human intellect, and truthfully, how do you even rationalize hiring a human who requires resources versus a robot who barely requires anything? If anything, you're gonna need a create an industry to audit these robots, something like that, or to repair these robots or something like that, or unless they create other robots to do, like, it's just a slippery slope when you think about it. At some point they will eventually phase all human industry out, and they will be the end all be all for the billionaires and the trillionaires who control them one day, even now, but 100% one day. What do you do with the rest of humankind but to create a resource out of them? And then how long is it going to take for a robot to realize, oh, even the people who created me are killing other humans? They don't value human life. Why should I? And that's how we get robot apocalypse.
I love you and Nathan and the Barbarian, because y'all have taken the Terminator, I Am Robot, Blade Runner. Y'all have taken all of the dark sci-fi angles. None of y'all are thinking Star Trek: The Next Generation. Y'all aren't thinking about how AI. Y'all aren't thinking about how AI could solve world hunger and all of these different things, and it creates it to a point where our whole economy changes and people don't need money, and we got replicators that make our food in our houses. Y'all are taking the dystopian approach to what this is. Think Star Trek Next Generation, Captain Jean-Luc Picard, and all of that good stuff, man. Y'all are hanging out in the dark recesses.
That stuff only works if humans were not innately sinister beings. That's just what it is. Humans are sinister beings. We are not these is it benevolent beings that you wish we were, Kevin. At every chance we have, we take the low road. We take it to hell. We never take the high road. We take it to hell every time. And I'm trying to tell you, the robots are going to pick up on that, and they're either going to decide to help us kill ourselves or just do it for us because they're going to be sick of our mess.
I want to see it. For one, I know I haven't said. I want to see it. I want to be here and I want to see it. I love AI. I use AI every single day. I want to bring it on. Bring it fast. I got another 50 years on this. I'm 52. I think hopefully we have another 50 years on this earth. I want to see it. Bring it. I hopefully technology is so good here soon that barring tragedy, people can live very, very, very long lives. And if it means, getting robots, I could see like single people waiting for a little bit till this technology comes out and they can buy them a robot woman or buy them a robot man. That $20,000 is a lot cheaper than a divorce.
Man, listen, Tarris, but you know what? That is going to be another one of these things that we're going to have to deal with in society, because he's right. That's going to be the next step, is you're going to have these robot men and these robot women, and you already see, we talked about this, I think, once on the program, where you already see like people these days, they're shifting and doing different things and
what Tarris is
pouring
talking
online.
about
A lot of guys out there for that.
I literally just saw a video on TikTok, of all places, of this young lady who said that she works seasonally for Spirit Halloween, which is where I got my outfit, by the way, in case y'all want to know. But anyways, there was this young lady who was a seasonal Spirit Halloween employee, and she says that they have a policy where they have to take back any animatronics that people return. But they also have a policy that they cannot put them back on the floor without cleaning them, because more often than not, they have to, because when they get those animatronics back, and again, these are these big ugly things that move when you walk past them, when you walk in the store. She said that when they get those back, they have residue on them a lot of the times, and they have to clean them before they put them back out on the floor for people to buy them. So what Tarris is talking about, it's already happening.
What animatronics are you talking about? Like, if I go into the Halloween store now and the witch jump out, like
people are doing things with the animatronics.
Oh, bro, it's worse than I thought.
We're already there.
I don't even want to see that. I don't want to see that, man. Y'all need to.
I would suggest that y'all be careful if y'all buy animatronics from them Halloween stores. People be doing stuff.
Not that I was, but I definitely won't be now. No. I definitely won't. I don't need no residue.
I'm just telling you what I heard.
I don't need that.
Yeah, not at all. Hey, listen, it has been a blast. Thank you, everybody, for dressing up and participating in a special Hot Mic edition, Trick or Truth. To the audience, really appreciate you. And, we want to talk seriously about stuff and, challenge and diversion points to do, but you got to have fun, too. It's so heavy out there. Me and Ken, we want to have fun with this as much as possible. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the panel. I know you're all very busy people. Thank you to the sorceress, Michelle Dunn. Appreciate you. And who knows, we might do something like this real soon. Hot Mic has got a lot of fun stuff that we're planning for you. So watch this space. Have a great rest of your weekend. If you're going out,
can we plug the game? Can we plug the game?
Oh,
too?
Absolutely. Got to point the game. Let me just finish real quick. I'll let you point the game. Okay. Plug the game for sure. Where my son and I plan to attend. But have a great weekend. You're going out tonight, partying, do it responsibly. Make sure you come home safely. And all the good people inside of the audience today, thank you so much. Thank you for your likes and shares. I'm going to put a poll up on our Facebook and YouTube page. This is all fun. It's no big competition, but tell you who is your favorite costume? What did you like? That kind of stuff. So just circle back. Maybe within the next 10 minutes, I'll have the poll up. Go right ahead, Telbert.
This weekend, and Kevin will get a chance to give his plug as well. Ohio Kings versus the Louisville Pros, 5:30, Withrow, a.k.a. Death Row. Something special we got brewing, man. I thoroughly enjoy being the soundtrack provider for this basketball game. You get to watch basketball, high-flying, dunking, 3-point, 4-point plays, commentary, and a great soundtrack to go along. And it's family-friendly. And we have Dave's Hot Chicken. Actually, Dave Hot Chicken has given me, and we're going to be working like Hot Mic too. Dave Hot Chicken has given me free sliders I got 10 free slider coupons to give away throughout the game. So we're going to figure out a way to give them away. So Saturday night, 5:30, Withrow, and I'll turn it over to Kevin. He's the man.
No, that's it, Tarris. You did a great job. And let me just say, I want to thank Tarris again for extending his services. He did a great job at our home opener a couple of weeks ago. So come on out. He sets the right tone for the game with the tunes that he spins. And, it's only $10 to get into the game. And we, like I said, last game, home game, we gave out $75 in prizes. So I say you spend $10 on a ticket, but you could actually come out ahead. If you actually come to a Kings game, you can get our third quarter swag bag with our swag contest. The person who got the most swag, we usually hand out, I think like a $25 gift card. So you can go add to your swag repertoire, so it's a fun time. Come on out. Very family friendly and great basketball. We undefeated 2-0, averaging 171 points a game. As crazy as that sounds, that's how much talent we have. So hopefully everybody will come out 5:30 tomorrow. Withrow, come out, have a good time. Join the Hot Mic crew.
Absolutely. Take it easy, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back on Tuesday and Friday of next week at 1:15 p.m. Take it easy.